What if Squid Game was made in North America? The worldwide smash hit has crossed barriers, but would it have been even more successful if it weren't subbed and dubbed? Today I'm going to talk about Squid Game and talk about what the cast would look like for an American version. So in this video, we're going to recast every single competitor in the series. So let's recast Squid Game as if it was made in the US. First up, we have the main character and really where the heart of the story lies. Seeing Seong Gi-hun's full story was definitely what made him one of my favorite characters. The actor here was incredible and perfectly cast in my opinion. He needs to tiptoe that line of being a slimeball and an absentee father, but also we need to side with him. We need to see him redeem himself throughout the series, even though sometimes we question his morals. We need an actor who looks a little bit down on his luck. Someone who can do the silly thing that we see here without being too over the top. It's a tough ask for any actor, but I also found every single actor I went who had a big name doesn't really fit this type of character. I think with having an A-list celebrity here would actually make me see the actor and not just the character. So I end up going lesser known, and I end up going with Hamish Linklater, who is a that guy actor. You've probably seen him in something because he's had a lot of notable roles, but he hasn't broken out completely. Still, he's done it all. He can do the super serious and emotional and go back and lean a little bit more on that comedy. I also like that he can just play that likable, dumb kind of character here as well.
You guys like making paper planes, or was something that it was one of my favorite things when I was a. You guys like music?
Doesn't everyone?
Not everyone likes music. The deaf, for example.
I think he'd be really great here, and I can definitely see him in the main role. So Hamish Linklater as Seong Gi-hun. Next up we have his right-hand man. Well, at least in the beginning of the series. Cho Sang-woo is a great role for any actor, and there's so much to do here. But we need someone with that commanding presence on screen, and someone who really controls and seems intelligent. He's willing to do whatever it takes, and is really undaunted by any challenge, unlike 90% of the competitors. We need that steady hand who wins us over before we start to hate him. I went with Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, he's incredible in everything he's been in, but he does that intelligence and that guided hand unlike anyone else. He can definitely do the emotional, and we can see that he's played dirty in the past, so we can buy into him as a villain at the end as well. I think he can be that level head in the beginning, as well as someone who kind of breaks in the end.
Seems hard to find words today. Despite the overwhelming evidence, I find myself searching for ways that Abigail could still be alive.
He has this cold and distant nature that works perfectly for this character. So Mads Mikkelsen is Cho Sang-woo. Next up, let's tackle the two crazies of Squid Game. Deok-su and his lover within the game. Let's do Deok-su first. Mr. Snake Tattoo, who is the clear antagonist within the whole series. He needs to be daunting, uncompromising, and extremely violent. He's got that mob boss sort of feel, but has definitely made the wrong plays within life. He needs a weight to him that's unmatched by any of the other contestants. I end up going with Benicio del Toro, who actually looks a lot like the character originally in the series. Beyond that, you could see through his entire filmography that he could nail this archetype of character. He's played criminals and hitmen to perfection, and he has that intensity in spades, and could really bring that slimy, violent persona that we need here.
Stop the shit or you're going straight to hell.
Hell? This is hell. Right here.
You're damning your soul. You shut up now and ask Christ to forgive you.
Forgive me. I did everything he asked me to do. I changed.
So Benicio del Toro as Deok-su. Now for maybe the craziest person within the game, Mi-nyeo. Now her performance is quite ramped up, and although she's great in the show, she's incredibly manic and deranged. I think it's important when we see someone who's past their prime here, and someone who's hanging on to her womanly ways and using them for her benefit. Now I went with someone who's a little bit past her prime even in their career. That actress is Juliette Lewis, who hasn't been a star as of late, but she's done this kind of role in the past and has that perfect level of seduction and manipulation and craziness that adds up to this character. I think she has done a lot in the past, and she's really due for a resurgence in roles.
I don't know how well you remember Andrew. You remember Andrew?
No, I remember.
Well, I loved him so intensely, so the things that he did wrong were just opportunities for me to make them right. When he would cheat on me or call me, I said, no, love is forever.
So Juliette Lewis as Mi-nyeo. Next up, let's tackle Ali. Now with Ali, his gentleness and warmth is something that you can feel through the screen. I feel like this is a good opportunity to give an actor who is lesser known and someone who hasn't really been on screen too much, so we can really see this character rather than just the actor. I want an actor who's an immigrant. Ethnicity doesn't matter as long as they feel like a little bit of an outsider within the group. And he definitely needs to be on the younger side since he has a young family, but most importantly, he needs that earnest feeling. Now, I went with Amir El-Masri. Now, he's an Egyptian actor, but you can see in his roles and in his face, he has that feeling that comes across perfectly with Ali. He's done very little, which I kind of like and works really well here, but he's got that puppy dog look, and I think he could really play with our heartstrings.
Congratulations. It's great. You don't hate me?
So Amir El-Masri as Ali. Next up we have Kang Sae-byeok, one of the clearest breakout stars from this. Now she's a little bit distant throughout the series and has really had a tough go in her life. But she eventually opens up and really makes us care about her character. She gives one of the best performances within the series, and I really bought into her story. Now I want someone who's capable of playing distant and secretive, but also raw. Someone who really makes us buy into what they're not saying rather than what they are. I also think we need a younger actress to help build that dynamic that we have with the main character. I end up going with Zendaya, who has really shown she's an amazing talent in recent years. She can do the standoffish and cold like we've seen in Spider-Man.
What about tonight? You snuck off and you fought that thing, I saw you.
But she can do the interesting just with looks and very little dialogue like we saw in Dune. I think she'd bring a lot with minimal dialogue and really have us care about her character by the end. So Zendaya as Kang Sae-byeok. Lastly, let's tackle the last character within the contestants, Oh Lee-nyam. Now, with Oh Lee-nyam, we need someone who feels frail, someone who looks like they need to sit down, and someone who believably looks like they're losing their mind. But there is a playfulness to this character that should not be overlooked. He is loving life here, and there's a few times we can see that glimpse of who he actually is. He should also be able to make that switch and be very intelligent. I end up going with Jonathan Pryce, who has that frail nature to him, but as we've seen him before, he's got this playfulness to him and this life that we see with his character. I can see him really selling this role and really making the characters within the story buy into his nature, but playing the flip side and really seeing him as the person who's controlling the games. So Jonathan Pryce as Oh Lee-nyam. So there are my choices for Squid Game. How did I do with the contestants? And are you excited for season 2? Also, what do you think about Mr. Beast's Squid Game? Well, let me know in the comments below what series you'd like to see next. I know a lot of people are asking for a modern day Avengers or some Attack on Titan. Let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.